is good, YouTube? Quinn Wade Basketball Analysis coming to you with a quick video. I wanted to let you guys know I got some new merchandise available, not just t-shirt anymore. I got different type of t-shirt, different type of shirts and logos that you can purchase on my spread shirt, and also hoodies now. We have expanded and added more to the channel and more merchandise for the brand. Thanks for supporting. It will be in the description and the links will be in the comment section below. Thanks for helping me and supporting the movement. Quinn Wade Basketball Analysis. I'm going to check out the video. What's good, YouTube? Quinn Wade Basketball Analysis coming to y'all with a quick video. We're going to talk about Fred Hoiberg, who just got fired by the Chicago Bulls. This is something that a lot of people expected eventually going to happen because the guy just couldn't win games with this Chicago Bulls team. Everybody had some type of expectations for this team to become successful, and they never really got to where they wanted to be. Even this year, they had some type of reasonable expectations, and what I mean by that is people thought they'd win more games than they won. They are one of the worst teams in the NBA. They're actually in the running for the worst team in the NBA right now, even though I will give him credit that they did have a lot of major injuries to their main players, like Lauri Markkanen. Bobby Portis missed a significant time right now in Chicago. And honestly and truthfully, they're the second worst team in the NBA in the Eastern Conference, 5-19. They only one game really away from being the worst team in the East. And they have some big name free agents like Jabari Parker and Zach LaVine getting paid a lot of money, even though Zach LaVine having a career year. And you do have to give a lot of credit to Fred Hoiberg for setting a lot of screens, getting him in comfortable spots, and getting the best out of Zach LaVine. He has never played this well. He has never been as good as he has been this season, but it hasn't led to wins. The team plays no defense. The team really don't have that much of an offense identity. His play calling, I wouldn't question that. It's just getting the best out of all his players. Obviously, Fred Hoiberg was honestly one of the coaches that was able to make it to the playoffs. Remember when they had Rondo, Dwayne Wade, and Jimmy Butler? He was able to find a way to win with that mediocre talent. Even though it is the East, he was able to find a way to win with that team with no shooting in an era where shooting was so important. They was able to shoot good enough, and it was up 2-0 in the playoff series. So it looked like Fred Hoiberg will potentially stay a little longer, because after that they traded for Chris Dunn, Lauri Markkanen, and Zach LaVine. Even though Zach LaVine was coming off an ACL injury, he still played that season, and he didn't really look that good. That's not really all Fred Hoiberg's fault, because we expected him to be a little rusty because he haven't played basketball in over a year. And then you have this season where he's healthy and he's having the best year, but everybody else is not having the best years. And you can't really put all the blame on, like I said, because of the injuries. But they still only won 5 games with a decent amount of talent. And he did change up the lineups a lot this year, trying different things, trying to figure out what worked, trying to figure out how he can get the best out of this roster, and he just wasn't able to do it. And they play no defense, and it seemed like they don't have the passion and the care and the want to be great, besides a couple players on this team. Fred Hoiberg, he tried. He went out there and got an extension. This is his 4th year, and now his contract would have been up next year anyway, which would have been his 5th year, and that would have gave him a healthy run of a couple years as an NBA coach, and maybe the team would have been more healthy. Maybe they would have played a lot better being together another year if they would have brought back Jabari Parker, because they have an option to bring him back. And maybe if they're healthier, maybe they can make another run for it. But it didn't happen. They got rid of him. And honestly and truthfully, Fred Hoiberg wasn't one of the elite coaches. He was not one of the better coaches. And he did have an argument that he never really had the talent. He never really could get the best because his team was always changing and they was always making moves. And he never got a consistent roster or consistent amount of players that was under him for multiple years. He kept getting a lot of changes, and you can look at it from that perspective too. But when you're in the NBA, the coaches always get the first blame the players get over before the coaches, and if anything else happens, they always got to fire somebody, and it most likely be the coach. But I will say Chicago did try. They ain't like they fired him in 1 year, ain't like they fired him in 2 years and gave up that quickly on the experiment. They gave him multiple years to figure it out. They gave him multiple years to show that he can coach, to show that he can get the best out of these players, show that he can actually win games, and show that, we gonna give you some type of talent. We need you to figure out how to get this team to win. And he only was able to really do that in a couple seasons, which a lot of people knew that he was gonna be fired eventually, which is kind of sad because we knew it was gonna happen. But you can't really be mad at this Chicago team, as crazy as it sounds, because of definitely how they finished in this year, 5-19. They should have won more games than that, and I think even Fred Hoiberg would admit to that. Because if you look at the history of Fred Hoiberg and him being there, they did make the playoffs, which is not going to be this year. They was 27-55 last year, which was 13th in the East. They, like I said, they made the playoffs with Jimmy Butler, Rondo, and Dwayne Wade. They was 500, which was 41-41. He was able to get them to a 42-40 record, and that finished ninth. And obviously the 50-32 record, but like I said, he never really had any consistency with the roster. They was always going through either a major injury. They was either going through a rebuild or trying to rebuild or trying to find talent that they can try to put in right now so they can build for the future, while also trying to keep some veterans around. And none of those ways work really. And then you have this season where they go completely young, and most young teams don't know how to win. You got to teach them how to win. You got to teach them how to execute. You got to teach them how to play defense, especially in the pressure and big moments. And they lost and blew a lot of games just this year. And at the end of the day, it just shows you how hard it is to win with the younger team. They had a lot of talent this year, and even though they are going to get better as the year goes on, just because they get more talent, and that should be able to help heal and patch up some wounds and hide some scars. But Fred Hoiberg, he tried. He tried to make the best out of it. He tried to go out there and coach. He tried to go out there and prove that he belongs. And I definitely want to see if he's going to try to get back into the NBA, how much chaos he went through with Chicago and dysfunction. And it was just hard to even just build some chemistry and build some loyalty and some relationships, because the team kept changing so significantly every year. And Fred Hoiberg just didn't have a chance to really bond and get to know his players like as a roster. And I feel like this was going to be the year he breaks out. And obviously they had a lot of injuries coming out the gate, and it didn't really help that case this year. So hopefully the Bulls can figure it out. This is a franchise people want to see win. We want to see them on top. We want to see them competitive. And they're going in the right direction with marketing and Portis and guys like Zach LaVine and Jabari and Chris Dunn. Those are players that can continue to develop if they can. And this team can be back somewhat competitive if they continue to work on their game and expand it and get better and get the chemistry that we thought that they would have going into this year before all the injuries ended up happening. So at the end of the day, I think Fred Hoiberg didn't really damage his reputation, because he was able to get to the playoffs and he was able to find ways to win with what talent that he had. And if you look at the circumstance, you can't really put all the blame on Fred Hoiberg, even though he is the person that got fired. I can't really be mad at Chicago either, because at the end of the day, they had to make this move because they felt like they're going in a different direction. The team is in a different direction, and they need somebody that they feel can win. And Fred Hoiberg hasn't been able to prove that consistently over his time with Chicago. Even though it ain't all on him, it is a reality that Fred Hoiberg isn't the best coach. He isn't a guy that we put up there with the best coaches. We never had him in that discussion. We felt like, let's try him out, let's see what happens, and that's what they felt in Chicago. And he never did anything crazy. Nobody was ever riding and dying for Fred Hoiberg. Chicago kept him a little longer than other people would have gave him. That just showed you how much they believed in him and how much they really wanted him to be the coach. And it just didn't work out. It just wasn't the best fit. And sometimes that happens. And That's one thing I want to see if Fred Hoiberg gonna keep his head up and go back to college and try to make it back to the NBA, or is he done seeing all of this function and all the craziness and how hard it is to win in this league? I wonder if that's going to keep him away from the NBA rank in the future. But hopefully he can find him a job and get back to coaching and get back to what he loved to do. And just remember, this is business. This is a business too. So the college game is a business. You making millions, and they want to see results. And the NBA do it to a higher degree, and he wasn't able to give them the results that they wanted, and he had to leave. But one thing I would say to Chicago fans is the Bulls named Jim Boylan, the associate head coach, will take over permanently after Fred Hoiberg been fired. We see that a lot now, that the assistant coaches and the other coaches take the spots of the head coaches because they have the same philosophy and they know the players already because they're coaching the players behind the scenes. They don't get the spotlight like the NBA head coaches, but they still do their job, and the organization already knows these people and they already know what they're capable of, and that's why they usually give it to one of their assistant coaches because they already know them. They're already in the organization, and on top of that, they already know the players and the staff. So this should be a decent transaction, and we want to see what Chicago going to do now that they starting to get more healthier. Can they win, get it on a 5, 6, 7 game winning streak in December, into January? Can they make a push for the playoffs? They have the talent. They have a decent amount of shooting. They have a decent amount of size. They have the athleticism. They have the ball handlers. They're just not a great defensive team at all. So I think that that's the thing that hurts them the most is their defense, and they that's something that's going to be their Achilles heel as a young team, is finding ways how to execute, finding ways of playing pressure situations, and finding ways to trust and believe in each other and not resorting to hero ball. And those are things that you're going to have to break. Those are things you're going to have to be patient with, and those are things that you don't really expect from a young team. But that's what they're going to have to do if they're going to go in a full rebuild with younger players. It's going to be a process. It's going to be tough. It's going to be some hard losses. It's going to be some games that you're going to be like, dang, how did they lose that game? But Chicago fans, be patient. This is a young team. This is a team that's going in the right direction talent-wise, and this is a team with a lot of flexibility. So hopefully Boylan don't have to go through what Fred Hoiberg had to go through, which is a lot of transition in rosters. And hopefully they can find some players that they feel like these are the guys for us, and build around them and add and plug in other players that can win with them. And then they can just build that chemistry and that love that they have playing for each other. And hopefully they can get back into the playoffs and become one of the East powerhouses and, do their thing in the Eastern Conference like they usually do since Michael Jordan was there. So let me know what you guys think. Did Fred Hoiberg deserve to get fired? Was his time overdue? Did they keep him too long? Did they do him wrong by firing without really having his full roster this whole season? Or should they still been able to win with the amount of talent that they had? It ain't all on the coaches, but he did have a part to play in this picture, and one of them had to go, and they choose the coach. And now that he's gone, now there's no more excuses for the organization because they have the talent now and they're getting healthy. So now that Fred Hoiberg is gone, he's no longer the scapegoat. He's a guy that's not the problem anymore because he's not there. So if they continue to lose and they continue to fail, you can't put the blame on Fred Hoiberg because he's not there anymore. So now we're going to start seeing what the players going to do, their development, how they get better, how they start winning, and that's going to be under a new head coach next year. So let's see who they pick. Let's see what they're trying to do, and let's see if they can get back to being a contender in the East. Check out my website, analysisplayground.com. Link will be in the description, comment section below. Check out my Facebook page, analysisplayground.com. Link will be in the description, comment section below. Like on Facebook to show support. Thanks for liking on Facebook and showing support on there. Also, check out my Spreadshirt. There you can find t-shirts, sweaters, and hoodies and things like cell phone cases, pillowcases, mouse pads, and even water bottles. Thanks for supporting the brand and buying products. Every little bit helps. And at the end of the day, I enjoy making these videos. You guys enjoy watching. That's why I continue to go. Binge watch. I got NBA rookie breakdowns, NBA player breakdowns. I break down actual footage. I talk about the hottest topics. I also talk about trades, free agent signings, and everything basketball every day. I don't miss one day. unless something comes up. Other than that, I'm in the studio every day making videos. Join the family, subscribe, Quenway Basketball Analysis. I'm gone.